Hi everybody, I'm Melinda Gallant, and I am standing in the Center for Active Living in Sandwich, Massachusetts. Oh, this is a beautiful building, and I'm going to have a discussion with two different groups of people all about the activities here and how this building will be used for the community. So come along, let's have a conversation. Hi everybody, I'm Melinda Gallant. Oh, I am so excited. I have a preview of the new Active Living Center here in Sandwich, the brand new building in the safety center area by the pickleball courts. Oh, it is so gorgeous. You're gonna love it. And I am sitting here with the people that designed it, that figured it out, and our townsfolk who really worked hard on this. I'm with Heather Harper, I'm with Charlie Holden, I'm with Deborah, I'm going to get you, Robinson. Yep. And I'm with Taylor McDonald. Ah, nice Scottish boy you are.
Absolutely.
There you go. So tell me, guys, are you excited? Heather?
Completely excited. I was lucky enough to come on board into this community at the time the decisions were being made. So it was attended my first town meeting in the town of Sandwich was the town meeting that they endorsed the library renovation and this project.
Oh my gosh, you were lucky.
Very lucky.
We were in a no situation before that.
I came along and it's all been yes.
That's great. So, Charlie, what are you thinking about the building?
It's a community event. It's a beautiful structure. A fine job by everyone. This is just great. So anticipated by the community.
So, Deborah, how long did it take?
Well, I've been involved for probably close to 2 years, and I only started when it was about to go into construction.
Oh, wow.
So there was probably a year and a half before that for design, for getting the drawings done, for bidding it. So it's been a process. It's been a long time, but it's walking in today, I'm just really very pleased.
And Taylor, when did you come on board?
We've been working with the town on this since the very beginning. So
Oh, wow.
Probably about 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah.
That's we get hired at the inception of the project. So we did a lot of that planning and working right through COVID. So a lot of online coordination and planning
Right.
for this project.
You mean you did a lot of Zooms?
Absolutely.
Oh, that Zoom. Raise our hands if we hate Zoom. Although it does work, and it did help you in this case.
It did, and we were able to work right through it, which was great.
So what makes this, from your perspective, and I'll start with you, Taylor, what makes this building special to you as somebody who helped design it, both of you?
For me, I think it's the fact that you can have really any level of age group or use group in the building. It's very functional, it's versatile, and it's a pleasant place to be. It's warming when you walk in here. It's wide, it's open, and people really enjoy the space, I think.
What about you, Deborah? What are you thinking?
One of the things that really is nice about the building is that it fits so well in Sandwich. It was designed for Sandwich. Even though it's a big building, it's light, there's a lot of daylight in it. It feels, even sitting here in this space, I feel like I'm close to the beach because there's so much daylight in the space. And very flexible spaces, a variety of kinds of spaces, some that have very specific uses, some that can be used for many things and will change over time. So it really is going to be very successful, I think.
So just sticking with the design and all of that, what made it special? I mean, when you started this process 4.5 years ago, 2.5 years, or 4 years ago, or 2 years ago, what did you come to? I mean, obviously you had to study the demographics of Sandwich, right? And you knew they wanted an active living building, but that you knew it had to be more than that. So how did you come to the conclusion of this particular design?
Well, I'll let Deb talk about the design process. We assist with that, but it's really the architect's vision
Right.
and the work they do.
Sure.
Programming is what it's called when you start. But I'll let Deb talk.
So
about
it's
some of that.
it's a process that we go at from two different directions. We talk to the people in the town about what they had currently for a senior center.
Oh, dear.
And what the pros and the cons of the existing facilities are, what the aspirations are for new facilities. Do a lot of community presentations with the town to see what people are interested in having, and taking that information and saying, okay, what size of a building is this, and what does it need to do, and how do the spaces need to work. And then we also come at it from having done other senior centers for some other towns. And we've been doing these for about 12 years. So there's a good number of projects that have been completed, and we know the success and some of the other issues that have happened in those for from other towns that are similar to Sandwich.
What works,
in
what
some ways,
doesn't.
what works, what doesn't. And so it's a combination of that knowledge, then tailoring it to the specific needs of Sandwich.
So Charlie, you're a selectman here in town. How did you feel about when they first brought the whole idea and the concept to the Board of Selectmen?
Oh, I love the concept. It's a combination of the existing facilities that we have. One is being reused by the school department. The other one is being sold
Yeah,
for the good of the community.
yeah,
Bring in funds, and this is a perfect combination in terms of scope, in terms of access to activities, in terms of everything between senior citizens to basketball players, youth groups.
Right.
It's just fabulous.
that's great. So Heather, you've been here since the beginning. How do you look at this building now that it's up? Do you feel that it represents the community, what you thought it would be? I know it's a brand new building, so you don't know any faults with it yet.
There aren't any.
No, there aren't any. I'm so sorry. Of course there aren't, Taylor. But how do you feel about it
I would say
now?
that it really represents the fulfillment of the town's master planning.
Okay.
So this is part of a long-range plan, part of a long-range community plan, as well as a long-range financial plan. And it's the town really fulfilling its own goals by implementing this building. And I'm really glad that Susan mentioned the design of the building for the town of Sandwich. And I remember early in the design phase, they really do an analysis of all the big buildings in town, because big buildings have a lot of responsibility to the community,
Yeah.
that they're set well on the site, that they play well with the other buildings in the area, and have the size to accommodate the uses that are going to be here. So really the idea behind this building was a large farmhouse in the
Yeah.
center of a field. And while we're not in the center of the field, we have the wonderful Oak Crest Cove field that's next to us.
Right.
We're adjacent to the wonderful recreation facility at Oak Crest Cove. We've been lucky enough to implement the pickleball courts and the tennis courts, as well as the skate park. So it's really a place that's here for the whole community and designed with universal accessibility and the senior community in mind. So it is a special thing for the community. I would say it's an inspirational, and it will be transformative for the town.
And what's interesting to me is that you just mentioned all those other things that are around this building, plus the safety buildings that are here, right? Which are very important to the community, for sure. However, it's all different age groups. Now, I'm one of those people that I have 6 grandkids, and I want to see kids. You know, my husband and I always laugh. We could never move to a 55-plus community because the 55-plus people would drive us crazy. It's nice to see kids riding their bikes. It's nice to see, kids around. So that really brings a sense of community here, doesn't it?
I think it really is the Sandwich story. It has always been a residential community, a place where working families can afford to live. That's starting to slip away from us a little bit, but doing things like this that invests in the whole community, the senior community, the families, creates, the place for families to have their recreational activities at the end of the day and later into the evening when senior programs aren't happening.
Yeah.
But also creates a special place for seniors to be safely during their program time, so that they can have their programs and maybe observe kids on the skate park or in the tennis courts, but be in an environment that's safe for them during their program time. And that was really an important part of the design concept.
So there will be specific times for people of a certain age that can be here, and other people of younger age would be here, or will there be a mix?
There may be some cross functionality, but I think essentially from Monday to Friday, from 8:30 to 4:30 is generally the time where Council on Aging programs are happening. And then, of course, they have their larger events, after-hour things that will be
Yeah.
available. There may be some activities that happen, so long as they're not inconsistent with the Council on
Sure.
Aging programming can be
Sure.
happening. Anyone who comes through the building will see that there is plenty of room for that to happen.
Yes, there is.
The multi-purpose rooms are very discrete from other areas of programming. So I think we are pretty confident that we can run Council on Aging programs as well as public health programs that are meet those needs for discretion and safety, but also accommodate other uses.
I see. Well, doing a building like this, I mean, it has a lot of parts, a lot of moving parts. You didn't know Sandwich before this, did you? You didn't vacation here or say, oh, my second cousin lives there or something?
I've been lucky enough this is our fifth building we've done with the town.
Oh my gosh.
So we've been working here for a while.
What were the?
We've done both public safety facilities
wow.
next door.
Great.
Work on the library.
Oh, yeah?
And the fire station number 2
Oh, yeah.
down the road as well. So,
Yeah.
and I grew up living on the Cape, working on the Cape, so I
you
knew
did?
Sandwich quite well. Yes.
Oh, you did? Oh, where did you live in the Cape?
In Yarmouth.
Oh, way down Cape.
Yeah, halfway down Cape.
The center of the Cape,
Yeah.
right? So, but what was it, did you have concerns coming into this project, or did you kind of go, I got this?
No major concerns. We do a lot of work like this, and we knew we had a great team coming in. BH+A has a great reputation in doing senior centers, and we've done some previous work with them, and our contractor, Page Construction, we had just finished a project with them, and we were moving to this project. So it was the same exact team.
Oh, I see.
So we knew the team we were getting with the contractor. We had been working with Deb's team for a while at BH+A. So, and of course the town, who we worked with many times. And the reason we love to work in Sandwich is because it, great leadership, and really, it starts at the top here with Bud and Heather, and it really works its way down, and its fingers kind of run throughout. It's an excellent town to work in and be in. Everybody gets it, and it makes a difference. And so
Sure.
I had no real concerns coming in. I just knew it was going to be a successful project. And, we had little bumps that every project does, but
Right,
we worked through
right.
them. And overall, it was a very great, fun project to work on.
Deborah, how about you? Did you feel, you were new to Sandwich, evidently. I don't think maybe you'd been here, but you
Well, I
didn't
lived in
know
this
it.
area most of my life, but Sandwich has mostly been a town I've driven through.
Yeah, there you go. Well, on 6.
On 6. But no, it's been a great group of people and a great team. So that's been made it very easy and very, very pleasant. But again, projects done during COVID were a real challenge. And for us, designing it when everybody was suddenly at home working on their
Right.
laptops was not the way we're used to working and
Nobody
designing
was.
something. We're so used to just sitting down around a big drawing on a big table and looking at the whole plan. And so that was really a challenge.
And I
But-
want to put Deborah on the spot a little bit, if that's okay with you. We had
Sure.
BH+A is very well known as a highly successful design team. The credentials of the firm are impeccable, and they had a previous designer that worked with us all through COVID, and it was incredibly impressive because because he's very capable with the computer-aided design. We were able to see the design progression and even have a discussion during design about alternatives. He would gin them up during the meeting and then reflect them back to us.
Great.
And then Deb stepped in for the implementation phase and did not miss a beat. Has really taken the project and brought it to life for us. So to have the skill that she has to take things from literally the electronic drawing board to life was very impressive to watch that work happen. So I want to thank you for all of your hard work, and I know how hard it was.
So is this a green building? Somebody tell me. Is this a
It
green
is.
building?
It's not a LEED certified
Okay.
building. We haven't gone through that process, but
Could it? Could it pass, you think?
I think it's designed to be the equivalent of LEED Silver.
Okay,
So it's meeting all the current energy codes.
right.
It is very well insulated. It has a mechanical system that's a heat pump system that's all driven by electricity. There are solar panels on the roof, on
Yep.
the back side of the building.
Sounds that way, I would
So
imagine.
it really
So,
is a state-of-the-art
Yeah,
facility.
great, great. Would the town go through the lead process?
No, you have to have started that during the design
Oh, I
process.
see.
And there's a
I
very
see.
rigorous cost associated with that. And so oftentimes, and it's not unusual,
Right.
to design to the standards but then not meet the certification.
Right.
Really, the benefits are the energy efficiency, the cost
Right.
savings, the climate protection measures,
Right.
the lack of energy consumption and
So
fossil fuels.
so this will make the operating costs lower, correct? Than, for a building this size?
Absolutely, yes. It'll obviously be more than the smaller building you're in now, but
That's right.
but
Well,
yes.
that building should, well, that building.
But it's much more energy efficient than the
Yeah.
old building was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, when was that building built, Charlie, the current senior center? Do you remember?
Oh, gosh, no, I don't, I'm
What
sorry.
was it, 1980?
I think it was the 70s or 80s. We have an answer from the field.
Ah,
84.
okay. 'Cause
1984.
I just moved here.
That was so good.
And they didn't have anything like this. And I thought it was in the 80s, because I had moved here in 80, and it was a big deal. It was
Yes.
controversial, because everything can be controversial in Sandwich, but it had a kitchen in it, and they were so
Yes,
excited it had
yes.
a kitchen. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness. But I mean, it was certainly used and overused. It was a facility that got good use.
Yeah,
You know.
and its mission was served, and it fulfilled
definitely
the needs
was.
of the
And
community.
it's now nice to be something else.
And
be
it,
fixed
we
up
can
and-
breathe new life into it, and it can
Yeah.
be used for something else.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, what is left to be completed here? To me, I've walked through part of it. It looks like it's done. Is it done?
It's 99% done.
There's always those
So
those
there's
little,
there's punch list
Yeah.
items. So at this point it's touch up painting. It might be working with the locks to make sure they're working correctly.
Right.
Little fidgety things that when
Yeah.
you open a building, you're breaking it in too. It's the
Right.
first time it's really being used. So there's always that break-in period, and we've been diligently working with the contractor and the architect to put those items on a list and get them done. And so it's going well. They're moving in. They're opening on Monday. So yes, there
Come
might be
hell or high water,
yeah,
it's
there might be
opening.
there might be little things here or there that might be getting touched up, but
Right.
nothing that's going to affect operations.
So, if somebody comes in to use this building in the next 2 weeks, and they find a door handle, you want them to tell you that it's not working right, Heather?
We have a very long list, and more than likely we know about
So
it
don't tell
already.
us, we already know.
Yeah, I'm already making a mental list in my own head, like coat racks down by the gymnasium. So when walking folks come in and want to hang their coat, right?
Yeah,
little
very-
things
little
that we'll be
things.
thinking
Yeah.
about. And we've just, as you know, we've recently relocated 50 people from 5 buildings into 1 building.
I know.
And so the idea of moving and accommodating and taking a little bit of time, and we keep calling it the
Right.
shakedown cruise to get to
Yeah.
know how the building's working, will take a little bit of time. But
Sure,
I'm
Charlie.
sorry,
Yes.
yes, the inspection process will be ongoing, and I was involved in the implementation of the emergency service structures.
Sure.
And thanks to Taylor, among others, it just flowed through.
That's great.
Issues that came up were addressed, and at the end of the day, everybody was happy.
right.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's a sign of a good company.
Yeah, I think we work
That's
well.
what that's what you do. That's what you get paid to do, right?
Absolutely.
All right, that's good. So, as the town grows, Charlie, what do you think about this? As the town grows, will this building grow? Will this building change? What are the, I'm not going to be here in 30 years, but the building will be. And with projections of population here, although Cape is losing population, and but it's going to turn around because people have to go somewhere. Do you think this building will change or grow, or is it possible to?
It's always possible to grow, but I think the way the structure is laid out now, adjustments can be made,
I see.
what do you think, Taylor? Right, with the population changes, and I think that we can accommodate it both ways. That should the population become younger in a decade or two, and we can accommodate that as well.
Right.
And the meeting space, and of course the athletic activity space, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, not only is it flexible for use groups, but part of the architect's job is to do the projections for 30, 40, 50
Right.
years. Because you don't want to build a building for now, you're building it
Right,
for
for the
now and the
future.
future. So,
Right.
I think they did a great job building that space in.
Deborah?
Well, what I was going to say is, instead of thinking of the word grow and imagining an addition on the building and making it bigger, I would say that we know it will evolve. And that there's been some, the furniture layouts, for example, are based on an assumption of certain uses, lunch table set up for eating meals in the multipurpose room, or for having certain activities in the game room. And if one space has much more popularity than anybody could have imagined, which happens. You might, for example, want to move the furniture around and put tables in the lounge, and that's where people have meals rather than in the multipurpose room. And the multipurpose room can stay as more of an open space that can be used for a variety of activities during the day without having to move the tables out of the way.
Right.
So those are the kinds of things that we're seeing at some of these facilities. Once it's open, and what the phrase we use is, if you build it, they will come.
Now what?
Because you can't really know, you know what you've
Yeah.
had, and
Right,
people know what
right,
they've had,
right,
and
right.
you're making assumptions about how it will be used. But in the end, certain things become more popular. Gym facilities can become popular or not popular, and you
Right,
might
right.
swap
Well,
the
there are
fitness room and something else.
There are pickleball courts down in the gym.
In the gym.
Right? Well, jeez Louise. There'll be people going, I want to play pickleball right now. I can guarantee it during the day.
There's people playing across the street
I
right now.
saw
in
that a guy with a
40-degree weather out
I
now,
know.
so.
I saw a guy with a reflective jacket on. I thought perhaps he was a construction worker.
I thought the
decided
same
to-
thing. I said, why is my guy on the pickleball court?
I guess he probably isn't
Yeah,
though.
no.
No, he isn't. So the only other thing I was wondering too is this going to be a building that Hurricane Bud, he'll love that I said that, Hurricane Bud decides to pop up and is going to hit Sandwich. Will this become an emergency building as well? Is it prepared for that?
Yes.
I'm looking at you guys.
Yes,
Yes.
and I want Charlie to say yes as well. We've designed it with that thought in mind, working very closely with the emergency management team.
So the windows are hurricane proof and all that stuff?
Have to be, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, by code. But if you can, when you get a chance to do the tour of the
Yeah.
building and see the kitchen and the multipurpose room and the gymnasium, it clearly will serve a need when the town of Sandwich needs a shelter and we don't need a regional shelter.
Right.
This would be an incredible local shelter. It's got
Right.
emergency generator service. We've got an emergency access in the back. So really it is intentionally designed to serve that purpose as well as for future elections.
Oh, they would all be held here.
Yes, and the other
Oh.
places in
Oh,
town.
and the other 10
Yes.
places in town too. I don't know, I work at the polls, just don't know where I'm supposed to go. Oh, I hope I get to work here. I doubt it, but I know that Taylor, he won't put me here. This is too new and too fun place to be. I'm sure he'll put me
We
in
need you
a
to
dark
focus.
place. I need to focus, I can't have any fun. So that said, you mentioned regional. So what if there was a regional event? It would be one of many?
There are regional shelters that the region identifies.
I see.
That have to have
So
certain.
like the high school?
Correct.
Correct.
Although it's the highest point in Sandwich, I never quite understood that. Isn't it the highest point in Sandwich,
The high school?
the high school?
I don't know.
I know from the top floors you can see the ocean.
Yes.
My kids used to stare out at the ocean instead of paying attention when they went to school there. So that would be a regional. This would be local, this would be
Correct.
just, I'm sure that gives many people in Sandwich a comforting feeling that they have their own special spot.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm serious, not have to be with other folks. So I want to thank you. You all have been wonderful. Taylor, Deborah, Charlie, my friend,
Thank
and you too, Heather. Thank you so much. I think we got a lot of information out. Now, if somebody wants to know something about the building, can they contact you, Heather? Who do they contact?
We have an email address that maybe we can put up on here.
They'll put it on, yeah.
That has been set up specifically for questions about the Center for Active Living.
Wonderful.
That is the best place to send your questions to, and then we'll circulate it to the right person to get an answer for you.
Is there a website for this building
And there's
yet?
a website right on the town's resident page. You'll see Sandwich Center for Active Living.
Wonderful.
And frequently asked questions. These videos will be posted on there, photographs.
Wonderful.
So all the information, anything anyone wants to know should be as easily accessible either through that web address, which will be listed here,
Yeah.
and on the website.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. It
Thank
was
you.
so nice meeting you both, and always a pleasure to see
Yes.
the two of you. Thanks.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, and I am here again talking with some fabulous people about the Center for Active Living. It is such a fantastic building. Not only is it beautiful sitting on the side as you drive by, but when you come into it, there's a warm, kind of a Cape Cod feeling to it. It makes you feel like, hey, I want to stay here. Ooh, what can I learn here? Ooh, can I take a walk around the gym? Ooh, can I play basketball? Ooh, can I play pickleball inside? Yikes. So I am with fantastic folks, 4 of them. I'm counting them as I'm looking over here. I am with Guy Boucher. Did I say right?
You did.
Okay,
Yep.
Guy Boucher. I am with a selectman, and of course, he's the former police chief of Sandwich, Mike Miller, and married to a wonderful woman, by the way. Anyway,
That's a side story.
that's a side story in itself. And I am here with our town nurse, Joanne or Joan?
Joanne.
Joanne. Actually, it's spelled almost like my sister spelled her name. And is it Geek or Geik?
Cake.
Geek. You know, we've met before on Zoom. I think that's why I can't remember. And then, of course, I am here with Susan Morancic. I got it. I know. I'm so terrible with names. You know, but that's because I'm from Ohio and my audience knows this, and so they forgive me. So here we are. We're sitting in a room. What room is this, Susan?
This is the game room.
Oh, so what do we do in the game room?
There are all kinds of activities that can take place here. We have, in the background that you can't see, we have a poker table. There are card tables here. And soon, we're not opening with it, but very soon there will be a pool table in here as
Oh,
well.
nice.
And there's a variety of seating. There is a television screen in here. So a lot of things can happen in here. All
Excellent.
very entertaining and recreational.
Excellent. So let's start with you, Guy.
Okay.
Here we are. This is a multi-purpose building in a sense, isn't it?
It is. It is, and we're very excited to have this as part of our community, and have these spaces that really were designed for all. And I think we'll see a lot of use in our community with them.
Yeah. So what do you got planned?
So right now, my biggest thing is the gymnasium. I
Yeah.
mean, for years we've wanted another gymnasium
Right.
that's not in the school here in town for our community, and we have it. And it's a beautiful space with a full-size basketball court, 2 half courts that go across, 3 pickleball courts, and a walking track. So, the programs that we can run here are limitless, and we're already starting to program, some walking. We'll start doing it on 7:30 on Monday morning, along with some indoor pickleball and open gyms and things of that
That's
nature.
great.
So,
So I always called it old man basketball because my son, who used to play basketball for Sandwich, he now plays old man basketball. Well, he did until he did his Achilles heel tendon or something. Anyway, he doesn't play it now. He's getting old, that's why. So you'll have old man's basketballs, which are the pickup games between people over the age of 30.
I think we'll have opportunities for all ages,
Okay.
and really looking, to provide opportunities for that tween group that's, not really old enough to go hang out somewhere on their own, but young enough or old enough where parents want to get them out of the house on a Friday night. So,
Sure.
And then I think we're looking at some family opportunities so that a family could come in and play a little pickup game, and then also, any of those older gentlemen and women that want to come in and do things like pick up basketball. But there's also futsal and indoor soccer which would be a big item as well. So
In this
in the gymnasium, yes.
Wow.
So really,
My grandson plays indoor soccer.
right,
So.
and that's a huge thing. So
Yeah.
we're looking at, Susan and I have talked about a lot of different programs, from badminton also to, this new program called Jazzmitten, which is a cross between badminton and pickleball. So, there's lots of things we're looking at. And
Do you do jazz hands?
yeah, well, maybe a little bit, but then also things like Nerf wars and
Yeah.
opportunities like that. So we're
Right.
really excited about the space, and honestly, the possibilities are endless.
Oh, that's
So.
great. So, Mike, you're a selectman. How do
Yes.
you feel about this building?
I'm glad to see it's finished.
That's honest.
In all seriousness, when you think back of the number of years that this has been going on, the
Yeah.
council's been trying to get a building for 10 or 15 years.
Even longer, probably.
Longer. And when the Board of Selectmen got together and made the decision that we were going to push for it, then the issue became, is it going to be more than just seniors? And so our position was that was a way to actually sell it and get it through town meeting and all the votes, and also what the town needed. And the basketball court, I still remember Bud Dunham saying, we got to have a basketball court, and we got it. And then the voters came out, the seniors
Yeah,
came out,
yeah.
the people came out, and they passed it. And that's quite an accomplishment. It's been a long time coming, and it can go. You've listened to Guy already. It can go any direction we want it to go. There's enough room in this building for multiple programs at a time. How we staff it will become an issue, I'm sure, down the line if it becomes.
Oh, I've got a question about that.
When it becomes successul, which our goal is to make
Right.
it as successful as possible.
Right.
I didn't hear paintball guns in the gym though. Why?
No,
I love the idea. How about nighttime with glow in the dark Nerf ball? That would be
we've talked about
wonderful.
that, and we've talked about glow-in-the-dark basketball
Yeah.
and pickleball.
Okay.
They all
Yeah.
have those opportunities.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
it could all be coming.
So as a community, you feel satisfied as a community
Absolutely.
building. This is going to really work well.
Yeah, and actually, this whole area is even bigger than this building. If you look what's happened in the last 6 years, the pickleball courts, the skateboard park,
Yep.
the BMX we moved from Otis across the street.
I didn't realize that was
That's
there
a
now.
professional track. They brought in a consultant that does it, and it's one of the best tracks around. And you're going to be seeing tournaments over there. We got the field next door. If this is the police and fire right next door. I mean,
Right.
when you think about it, it was a very good use of this whole area. And we talked about for years when we took over that property years ago from Hewitt Packard.
Right.
What were we
What
going
the
to do
heck
with
we're
it?
going to do with it,
And
right?
boy,
It gets use. I know
gets
that.
used.
It sure does. It sure does. So, Joanne, you are tasked with keeping us all well. What is the disease of the day for us?
Well, first of all, we're getting over COVID. Although I have to say, we're still at 7.8% for Sandwich. Too high, way too high.
I wear my mask when I go in the grocery store. Is there anything else I can do?
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
Stay away from groups that you don't know.
Yeah.
Who's in there, because now the symptoms are, if you've been immunized and you have your booster, the symptoms might be simple, like a runny nose or a headache, something benign, and you shouldn't be out and about.
Right.
Which is why we're giving out COVID tests, so people can make sure that they're healthy.
So, what is the disease of the day besides COVID?
Lyme disease,
Lyme disease?
tick-borne diseases.
Really?
Yeah, because we've had a mild winter.
Yeah.
The ticks are hiding under leaves. People are out doing yard work.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of tick-borne diseases. We also have the babesiosis and other tick-borne diseases, but people need to be careful.
Sure. So that's your job, to inform us of this.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do that in this building? Are you going to do things like that in this building?
Well, the same way I've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to people individually, having group meetings for people who are interested in certain diseases,
Right.
Or in immunizations, like we used to do before COVID. So it's kind of going back 4 years.
Wow.
And a long time, to see if we can get people into basic health issues now.
Sure.
Instead of just COVID.
Well, I know we all kind of look back at COVID and go, oh my God, that's 4 years I'll never get back.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Well, I'm sure it was a nightmare for you. I mean, I just stayed home.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a nightmare for me at all. You know, I have a television, I have, you know, things to do and whatever. But from your perspective, I'm sure you were just overwhelmed with so many things.
Well, I think everybody who worked closely with COVID patients and what was going on for such a long period of time feel the same way. That, I mean, you want to look now and think that everything's completely normal, everything's gone away. It isn't. But people have changed, I think, dramatically in how they're looking at illness. You know, and I hope it continues. I hope people continue to wash their hands.
Wear masks.
Wear a mask if they don't feel well, and stay home if you don't feel well.
I know.
I have to tell you, doing all the disease follow-ups, people who don't feel well with nausea, vomiting, whatever, are still out and about.
Going to work.
Because
Crazy.
they're so important that, you know, they can't stay home and get well.
Right.
But what they're actually doing is spreading everything they have to other people.
They're costing their business more money.
Yes, exactly.
So I take it you're going to use this building for all the wonderful purposes the town health nurse does.
The public health nurse.
Public health nurse.
Yes.
So you have your master's in public health?
Correct.
Ah, excellent.
As you do as well, right?
No, I don't. My daughter does.
Ah.
My daughter has her master's in public health and her doctorate in, I don't know, something I don't understand. So, although she's a doctor, so doctor tests. So, what specific area? So if you have something going on, would it be in the downstairs portion of the building, or would it be in any of these rooms upstairs?
Well, probably anything that's available, you
I
know.
see.
I think the biggest,
Your office is here?
it's downstairs in the administrative section. I think the biggest thing is going to be that I'm going to have the same population of people around me, but many more,
Sure.
you know, with individual questions about their health, their immunizations, because people are into that more than they were before, which is very good. So, and the falls and, you know, problems that people normally would have had if they were in here doing exercise and such. But I also have more space now, so when we do clinics, they can
nice.
be big clinics, you know, get as many people done in a day as we can.
Excellent.
So we'll have more room for that at least.
Then that's a wonderful thing,
Yeah.
for sure. So, Susan, I'm going to say this is your building. No offense, Guy.
None taken.
She's letting you use it.
Yes.
I don't know, a lot of people are saying that, and it's just not true.
It's just not true. Well, I guess my question to you is it good? I mean, okay, as we all know, I'm a senior citizen. However, as I mentioned many times, I wouldn't come into a building like this if it was called the senior center, because I don't think of myself as an old person. That said, how are you going to integrate it to the community for both kids and seniors? Now, there are those seniors who get fussy. I'm not one of them. I like seeing kids ride bikes. I like seeing kids standing on the street corner. They don't bother me a bit. But a lot of seniors don't. They get worried, they get frightened for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure why, but they do. How are you going to integrate it so everybody feels comfortable? And that's a big job.
You have to start by saying it will never be perfect for everyone all the time.
There you go.
But
heed that.
someone to take a note of that. But I do think, you know, the beauty of it is in trying to figure that out. And one of my overriding goals would be that as we are all trying now to come together a little bit more. And it's the only way Sandwich is going to be a successful community 50 years from now. And we've also always said about this building, flexible space, future use, so things can change along the way. But I think the design of the building, if you hark back to that, that's really what makes the space work. So we can have things going on. We could have preschool programs, or, well, forget pickleball for a minute, but we could have preschool programs going on in the gym. The walking track can still be in use, and we can have several senior programs going on in classrooms up here or the multipurpose room downstairs. There can be a luncheon for older adults which we'll be having for St. Patrick's Day next week.
Oh, that's great.
We're going to give the...
So those programs will continue.
Sure. Yep.
I mean, you've been doing those in the other building,
We have.
right? So now you just expect more people.
Yep, more
Right.
people, and, well, I can't say the food will be better, let me just say that on camera right now. It's pretty, our St. Patty's Day is pretty top-notch.
Yeah.
But I think that you can have things going on, as I said, the gym in particular, the two buildings were designed to be able to use in separate ways, and with scheduled use, and, you know, working together with rec and other groups for programming, we can make that happen. And I think that we all have to, one of the biggest things about rolling out the building, we all have to be a little bit patient.
Sure.
We are learning to, as I used to say during the pandemic, we're learning to fly the plane while we're building it. So that's all going to be going on. But one of the most important things too is for people in the community to let us know what kind of programming you want to see. Because if we build it, people will come. But also, if you bring the ideas, we can make a lot of them happen.
Right. As much as I know pickleball is the name of the game right now, not everybody wants to play it.
Right.
Right? So other activities, what you're saying is other, maybe calmer activities will be programmed as well.
Or different kinds of, we already do programming based on different dimensions of wellness.
Okay.
So we look at things from a recreational aspect. We look at things from just a pure social aspect. So there
that's
might be
great.
a coffee social hour. There might be the luncheons that we talked about.
Sure.
There are fitness programs already. One of the new ones that we're going to open with is a bar exercise class.
Oh
So
my gosh, a lot
similar
of women
to,
love
yep,
that.
Yep, so that's something new that we now have space to do that we didn't have space for before.
Oh my gosh.
So plenty of fitness activities that can take place in this part of the building that are not necessarily on the gym floor. So
And
lots
what
of
about
variety.
mind programs, you know, just like reading club, book clubs, or those kinds of
All
things?
kinds of those things. We already have a very active book club. We have a what I call kind of a lifelong learning history program. One of our local residents is tremendous in the research that he does, so that meets weekly. Every month we try to have educational things that are, I call them the special events. There's
Yeah.
the recurring programs,
Right.
and then there's the special events. So,
So
something new all the time.
You work really closely with Joanne then.
Yes.
Yeah. You work closely together on bringing programming. So now you'll work closely with Guy as well, right? Although, did you work closely do you do any senior activities, Guy?
We do.
I think of you
but
as family and kids. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of we do have ballroom dancing. We have other
Yeah.
programs and pickleball as well.
Yeah.
But I think this building is going to naturally lend itself to some intergenerational programming.
So, Mike, tell me, is there going to be a program manager overseeing all these? Is it going to just be between Sue and Guy? How are you going to staff it? I mean, I'm just curious that it is a big building, and they are going to be doing a lot of programs. Are you going looking for outside, like contracted work to come in and teach things, or how are you going to do this?
Let the town manager and assistant town manager do it.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. They're the ones that are going to oversee it,
we're-
but,
yeah, we're
bottom
not-
line is they're going to come to you and tell you.
I think the selectmen have made the input already by the way the building was constructed, meaning
Yeah.
a town-wide usage and all that.
Yeah,
We've met with Heather especially and Bud.
yeah,
We've had numerous conversations about exactly that, and they've been working on that for some
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I think between Guy and a lot of his activities after the hours that Sue would,
Right.
they'd be using it, and working out with the managers, whether or not we'll have the funds to, down the line, if you need help, if this building takes off, we know we're gonna have to do that. We've already lined up a custodial staff for this building by itself.
Oh, so it's,
Yeah.
oh, that's good.
So there'll be one person assigned here, and the other town buildings will be handled by other people. So
Sure.
that is a major player, and they'll work it out.
So I guess the question would be then for you, Guy, and I mean, you already kind of have a staff. You have a small staff, I know. But could you do it through having teachers come in and teach something and people pay? I mean, not every program is free, right?
Right, I think it's really, what we are starting with is bringing for our department is bringing the existing program over. That's the part about being patient. But I think that you can handle a lot of things with little human resources sorry, Guy. By working the schedule. Things
Yeah.
are programmed, and to your question,
Yeah.
we have lots of programs that are free. And Guy, you can talk about, Guy has a little bit different method. We also have paid instructors.
Sure.
It's both. And
Yeah.
we try to keep things obviously always very affordable.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of opportunity for new things, but it's in the scheduling and really
Sure.
being able to look at the calendar and figure out what's going to be in what room, when,
Right.
and how we allow access to the building and how we monitor that. But I think that you can do a lot. But again, patience is the key while we all figure it out and get people in to do exactly what they want to do in the building. There's lots of interest and
Right.
what's reasonable and what kind of new things we can come up with together.
Mike?
And both of you have volunteer networks. And so, obviously, if you're coordinating together and you've got 100 volunteers and you've got 50 or 60 or 100, that how you work that out, that's a lot of people. That's a lot,
It is
of,
a lot of people.
support.
And it's a lot of community support,
Yes,
which is
exactly.
really terrific. So it's a very good thing.
Right.
Do I get to do a commercial now? We need.
Hey,
Go
sure.
ahead.
Guy, do you need volunteers as
Volunteers
well?
are always welcome,
no.
and helping with the spaces. And,
Right.
a lot of our programs are self-funded,
Yeah.
so the money we charge for a program is what
Right.
runs the program or pays the instructors. We do work with a lot of vendors as well.
Yeah.
So, that's how we continue to do business. So,
So will you use the building over next door that you've been using for various things?
yeah, that we'll continue to use those spaces.
Your office isn't there though.
Our office is there.
It's going to stay there.
And our office will stay there.
I see.
We'll continue to have our fitness programs through the Tone Club is what it's called.
Yeah.
And those pieces are still going to stay there.
Yeah.
We have outdoor basketball there. The lights are on until 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
and people come down and play basketball. That will continue. And so, there'll be some opportunities where maybe we need a bigger space or, something
Right.
like that, where we might migrate something to the gym or do a special event in the gym,
Right.
a cardio
Right.
dance extravaganza,
Right.
maybe, or something like that. But the programs that we have at our space now will continue to be there.
How to do a flash mob, teach that.
Yeah, we could do that.
Plenty of room.
Yeah.
I think a 24-hour dance-a-thon fundraiser.
Oh, God.
Be fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that
All
would be a good
ages.
one. All
We have
ages.
a gym to do it in.
Yep.
And the kitchen
Yeah.
downstairs to be open all the whole
Yes.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be
Absolutely.
terrific.
That would be
And if
amazing.
anybody drops over, we've got right next door, we've got
Yeah.
fire and EMTs, so
Roll
we're
over.
good.
Yep, we're perfect.
It's
Now,
all a good thing.
Guy also has the cottages down there, which you can use for staff or for programs that might have overnight potential.
Yeah, we do have that ability, and we use it for our seasonal staffing, and that helps us greatly to
Well, yeah,
to
on Cape
recruit.
Cod,
and-
who can find a place to live?
Exactly. So for us to get those college students or older staff people that are looking for housing that want to come to the Cape and work, the recreation has that ability. So
Sure.
it's
Well,
a huge asset.
That's a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. I didn't realize they used them for that.
Yeah.
So, for all of you, would you ever consider, as I've started to say, right now, I've done something at the Hyannis Rec Center, or whatever they call that center there, for the hack people. I did a big program for them. And we used all the building. It was really a fun, amazing thing. And they rented it. They had to rent it. Would you consider that for this and for as a revenue source on occasion? Or let's say we want to do a wellness fitness expo, and you rent space, and people pay you to come in and show their wares and whatever. Or you want to do something for seniors, or as we're talking about a dance-a-thon, would you ever rent it though to an outside group to use this building? Mike, I don't know. You might be the
I'd
person.
look at everything.
Yeah.
One of the problems we've had is, for instance, with rec, they can't make money on a program. You can only. We've already said, geez, can't rec find a way to raise money so it can offset budget costs,
Sure.
or even this place. And I don't know what you do, Sue, if you have to only charge what the program costs.
Similar. We're similar. Yeah.
And so, you're not going to make money with that type of a system.
No.
So if
That's
you got a
right.
building like this and it doesn't conflict with all the programs you guys are going to have in, I'd look at it.
But I think it's something that over time,
Yeah.
we'll get there. I think our goal and Susan's goal is to, let's bring in our programs, let's get our residents in here, let's get our current participants into this building, enjoying it, and let us learn the building. And I think over time, if there's an event or an activity that is looking to be in here, I think we would have that discussion.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Sandwich sits perfectly in relationship to Plymouth, and this building sits perfectly in an area where if you did a health and wellness expo, including recreation and whatever, and sold off spaces, and every room there was this, and you can come in and participate, and, you have, you bring in the audience,
Right.
the vendors pay for the spots. I would think you might be able to make some money on this. I really do. I'm sitting here thinking. So I think you might have I think this building is just so wonderful. It just needs to be used and taken good care of as well.
For sure.
So
Absolutely.
I want to thank you all for coming. You were terrific.
Thank you.
As I said, it's a fuzzy building. It feels good. And I can't wait to see when all the landscaping gets in and everything gets done.
Bocce ball court.
And what?
The court.
Bocce
Yeah.
court.
Oh, the
Bocce
bocce court, yeah. I'm sure there'll be tournaments going on there at some point, I'm sure. So, again, thank you so much. You are all wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness! I learned so much about this building and how it was created and what it's going to be used for. The Center for Active Living in Sandwich, Massachusetts. It is terrific. I hope you all come and see it, and it opens March 13th. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time, and we'll have another conversation.